Welcome back to Worth Effort Woodworking. Today I'm right outside the Kerrville Art Center in Kerrville, Texas at the annual Texas Furniture Makers Show. This is kind of a place where the best of the best in our part of the country come, and it is a competition, but not really. It's basically a place for them to put their best work out there for other people to critique and show, and it allows them to put themselves in front of furniture buyers and stuff like that, the high end market. And as such, they really go all out with the stuff they're going to be showing. I like to make this annual pilgrimage because it gives me a chance to really go over some truly excellent craftsmanship and steal little ideas I might be able to incorporate. So, come on in and let's check out what they got this year. Now, this is a free event, and they hold it, beginning of fall every year. And one of the first things I like to do as I walk in is just to do a good overview of everything that's been being shown this year. Because the stuff that grabs your attention right off the get-go has the opportunity to hold your attention. So I think first impressions are really important. So here's just a quick walkthrough of what's being shown this year. I like that bent lamination. Pretty cool. Oh, that's kind of cool. Nope, I will be back to look at that one. I like the curves on that one. Commentary coming on that one. I mean, that's pretty elegant. Nice sculptural piece. Coming through. Ooh, that front section right there, that grabbed my attention right off the get-go. Ooh, really nice burl on that piece. Okay. A little bit of Kumiko coming through. And obviously this is we're coming out of COVID, so a lot of these high-end people don't have the commissions to really show off, so it's kind of a good use of a piece of wood. They don't have the commission, so this isn't as populated as it has been in past years. But what do y'all think? For a first walkthrough, anything grab your attention? So how about a quick montage of some of the finer details you'll find here? Now, not every piece has to be a huge piece of furniture to really draw my attention and appreciation. Here's a piece from Matthew Smith. And what I really like about this one is it demands light in order to be appreciated. He's kind of developed these styles. I've seen his pieces in past shows with this kind of checkerboard marquetry. But I want you to examine closely how he accomplishes that. Now, he accomplishes this checkerboard effect with just curly maple. And if you understand curly maple, its light reflects differently depending upon how it grew in the tree. So in order to get this checkerboard effect, he actually had to cut each one of these pieces and keep them organized for how they came out of the tree so he could reverse the growth direction to get it to reflect either light or dark. Now, the light ones will reflect dark at certain angles, and the dark ones will reflect light at certain angles. So as you move it around, the checkerboard will change. But once again, that can only be accomplished if he keeps the parquetry in order as he's cutting it from the tree. And what he takes it even one step farther in that as he glued it up, well, you can just check out the grain. The different colors, the grain is pretty much matched as it goes across. So it's grain matched and organized in order to get this effect. Again, just taking the pre-planning of how he's using grain to the nth level even before he starts. But that's not all that's special about this piece. There's kind of this adage that the smaller you build, the tighter your tolerances need to be. You know, if you have a 64th of an inch gap on a room paneling, not that big a deal, but you can see, you know, a thousandths of an inch gap over here. So what he did is he used a solid piece of wood on top. Not that big a deal. A lot of people do that one. But when you're looking for really tight tolerances, you have to take into account movement. So what did he do? He actually mitered the front so that he could get this joint tight, very, very tight, but he didn't do anything in the back. It actually just extends out. So I'm kind of wondering if he has not glued up this front corners and all this right here, because movement right there isn't that big a deal, and maybe use like a hide glue or something in back to allow for a little bit of movement. So, you know, in the worst case scenario, you might feel a little bit of a gap right there, but the joinery will stay tight year round. Really well executed. But that's not all. Let's take a look at down in the suspension below. Can you see how this entire piece is actually suspended above the base frame? Maybe if I adjust the contrast, you can see on the inside. He's got pegs that are coming up from those cross members, so all this is hovering above the base. Again, this plays with, look at the shadows underneath it coming through. It's all details that come through with light. One thing I kind of do wish he would have done, though, is it's obviously he used straight dowels. I bet if he had added a taper to it, something like this, a cone coming through, it would have taken it to the even next level. But he's doing better work than I can, so who am I to complain? And in playing with this light and dark thing he's got going, I really like how he used an ebony pole, but what really made that pop to me is he lined the face piece with a thin piece of ebony going all the way around. That's actually wood. That's not staining or paint. That's a piece of ebony. Kind of nice. Again, with little details that require a second look for you to really capture everything. Let's take a look at Austin wall domes from Austin, Texas. These little nesting side tables. At first glance, you know, these legs, they look like they're centered, you know, on the round, you know, equally spaced, but they're not. If you look, each one of them had to be cut at a slightly diagonal across it. If it was even in the middle, it would be cut across evenly. It's like that on all of them. And he had to do that one to accomplish his goal down below. I want you to notice how the undercarriage is actually lifted a little bit. He's got angles on all this joinery, plus the fact that all of them are curved so that you get these nice little shadow lines and elevations throughout the entire center section. In order to accomplish that and make it look right, he had to do a lot of hand carving on all these inner pieces. So when you look at this overall piece, there really isn't a straight line in it other than the fact that the legs are vertical. Everything else here is a curve. Once again, Danny Cameras came in with, I have no idea what to call this style, 3D Kumiko, but it is so intricate. I just want to show y'all as a little appreciation. I think I've covered his pieces in past years, but this year he's also adding in as one complete set the sculpture he did. Now I joke about it being 3D Kumiko because basically that's when I look at how it's built together, that's how I see it. All these are just lap joints over and over and over to create this what he calls a grid format. But I also want you to notice that even the cabinet itself is completely floating within the grid. Just kind of a cool concept, cool design, something he's kind of taken to make his own. Now here's a lounge chair by Matthew Christen. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But I wanted to get this distance view because there's an element to this chair that I see so many people kind of gloss over when they're designing and building chairs. Because something like this is not going to be sitting against the wall or anything like that. It's going to be in the middle of the room. So you have to take into account a 360 view. Matthew did such an exceptional job with the back of this thing. It's not just that he's got these angles and slats in there, but we've got miters in the joinery. It's recessed down into it. The visuals carry through. This thing looks great no matter what angle you're looking at it in a room. It is a true design centerpiece. Really well done. I like that. Now over in the corner is this little table by Roger Ellison. What I really like about it is check out how he laminated up the top. He basically took the offcut of a branch. This is a branch coming off a tree, something that, I would have said was trash. He flattened it and then he did it at this diagonal. Really creative way of utilizing, what I would have said was firewood, but I like how he did this. This is cool. Now here's something from Lee Ansell that I can truly appreciate as a furniture worker. You find a good piece of wood, just leave it alone. Make a simple structure underneath, something elegant, and then just put the finest finish you can on it. Something that's not too glossy, maintains the feel of the wood, but man, is that thing not gorgeous. Now, Troy Chambers made a really nice mesquite, Texas-style coffee table. I kind of like how he suspended it with miter joints right here, so it's up off of that. But what I really want you to notice is how he joined the tabletop. Now, what was cool about this one is here's the pith of the tree. So you got both sides of the tree right here. What he did was he actually just sliced off the outside in order to get this width, book matching it right down the center so that you see the little alien faces and stuff as you come through. Pretty cool. Now, there is absolutely nothing I can critique about Wayne DeLay's work. He brought two pieces this year, and he really always blows my mind with the entire year. This Mama Bear, Papa Bear one is one I really liked, and it's just something you have to see to really appreciate, because no matter what I say in this video, you're not going to get everything. But the only critique I could tell you, Wayne, is on the electronic side. Please, oh please, oh please, soften the color of the LED. Get a little bit more yellow hue to really pop. Now, Craig Welburn made this, he called it mid-century modern. I just think of it more of a modern design office desk table. And what I really appreciate about it is when you take a design element, harsh angles, and take it to the nth level to soften the entire piece. I love how he did these angles. I love how the brass pieces are hexagonal. I like how he used wood with harsh lines in it, complementing something that's fairly dark and soft when you see it at a distance. I even like how he put the same angle on the drawer slides. Just really, really well executed. Now, earlier in this video, I truly gushed over Matthew, I think it's Hedgepast Smith. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Over that little cabinet with how light reflected off of it. And I kind of want to juxtapose it with another of his pieces. I really like how he captured the grain in the center and how these are all veneers on top of wood. And I love how he's got these angles, these curves to everything. But looking at his trademark element and the other piece, the checkerboarding, notice how these pieces, none of them are matched vertically. They're all different pieces, so it gives it a little softer look to it. It's a little bit more modeled. It's a little bit more even. It might be what he was going for. That's why he did it. But the grain isn't matched, so you can't really tell the movement left, right, up, and down, which I kind of wish it was.
The only other thing is his other piece. Every single angle was integrated. How the whole cabinet hovered over the suspension, the bottom frame, the angles matched in that same light. I kind of would have liked for this to have been carved somewhat to that angle so that it would seat in there and kind of line up right here. But other than that, this is so far above my skill level. Those are just my opinions. But I wanted to juxtapose those grain alignments, that grain forethought and the parquetry between the two pieces. He was probably just going for different imagery because this one could sit on a wall and not draw as much attention as the other one. Now here's a piece by David Bennett. And once again, I like the fact that he focused on just a really cool piece of wood. This is a branch of a pecan tree. And I really do like how he has some of an Asian-inspired leg on this side with nice lap joints throughout it. Just really cool look. But what really drew my attention was his choice of species for how he did the cabinet on the other side. The base is mahogany. Again, I appreciate that. But he used white oak and he scalloped the boards, the individual boards right here. So no matter how you approach it, you're always going to get those little medulla rays that come through right in the middle. I like how he did that one. He forethought the species to get an effect, and he chose scalloping to draw that out. Really cool. I like that, David. Now this entry table from Eric Wise with a floating top, I will tell you the moment I walked in the front door, what popped out at me, this piece popped out at me because of him using such a bold grain choice. He had to pick one that had these cathedrals running, and he aligned it just right. I like that one, Eric. Well done. Well, I would love to be able to hit every single piece here, but I just kind of picked a few things that jumped out at me. I can't even say that they were the best to show. They're just what impressed me, and that's kind of what's cool about coming to events like this. You get to wander around and draw out what impresses you to kind of archive in your memory of stuff you want to try in the future. Now, if you are in Central Texas, I believe the show's up until mid-December. December 17th. So if you want to come out, after the Thanksgiving with your family and friends, just check out this stuff and you'll appreciate something different than I do. Well, I hope you learned something, saw a few things you thought was cool, but as always, remember, it's always worth the effort to learn, create stuff, though I didn't create anything here, but I'm hopefully sharing it with you. Y'all be safe and have fun.